Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back for another video analysis and breakdown. And this will be the first of our weekly game previews and predictions, starting with the Steelers Week One Monday Night Football matchup against the New York Giants. Hope you guys are enjoying Week One so far. And yeah, just going to be a short video that kind of talks about what to expect, some of the strengths and weaknesses of the Steelers' upcoming opponent. And that will start with the New York Giants. Starting with the Giants offense, and obviously everything runs through Saquon Barkley and the mission for the Steelers defense, and you expect a really run heavy approach and spitting that strong safety down, Terrell Edmonds, to try to stop the run and contain number 26. Because as Barkley goes, so goes this Giants offense. And he's a guy that obviously you don't want to let him get in open grass, one-on-one opportunities. You need to gang tackle, run of the football, all things the Steelers do well, although we'll just see exactly how much they're missing Javon Hargrave in terms of how that affects their run defense. I don't think it'll be significantly so overall. I think Tyson Alualu will do a good job replacing him in terms of a run defense. I've done a video on him and his technique and his strength and hand use and ability to finish and things like that. I think he's going to be stout against the run. Maybe not to the degree of Hargrave, not quite the one gapper and penetrator, but you add Stephon to it. You have Kim Hayward. You have a really good edge setting pair of linebackers in TJ Watt and Bud Dupree. I think run defense won't be a major concern, but it is the number one thing you have to do to try to slow down this Giants attack. And this will be a good litmus test for the Steelers' run defense this year because they're going to be seeing Barkley. They're going to see a pretty good rushing attack next week against the Denver Broncos. You're going to play in an AFC North with some of the best rushing attacks in football, some of the best running backs in football. Guys like Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon. The Ravens' attack overall is really strong. So this will be a good test out of the gate to see how this team can handle Saquon Barkley. It's about running to the football, gang tackling, finishing the play. That'll be the mission. Beyond that, in the passing game, I think it comes down to defending the middle of the field. And they do have some weapons. The Giants do some returning guys. Darius Slayton is a vertical threat that has to be given a lot of attention to. He showed a good chemistry with Daniel Jones last season. But I'm really looking at tight end Evan Ingram and wide receiver Golden Tate. I know Tate is dealing with an injury of some sort. We're not 100% sure he's going to play, though I'm pretty sure he will at this point. But Ingram is a matchup nightmare over the middle. He was having a really strong season in 2019 before missing the back half of the season with a foot injury, and Tate's kind of that Hines Ward-ish type dude where he's just really good over the middle, a slot receiver, dependable, third down, red zone, got to have in situations. They're going to be looking Golden Tate's way. So defending middle of the field, Devin Bush on Evan Ingram, Terrell Edmonds on Evan Ingram, just kind of the different matchups and different approaches to slow him down. And just defending the middle of the field will, I think, be a key when defending the Giants' pass game. For the Giants, a weakness is that offensive line, or a question mark is the offensive line. Now, in the run scheme, I think they're going to run a lot of inside zone. They're going to run some power. They have the same offensive coordinator, offensive line coach from Dallas. It's Jason Garrett and Mark Colombo. So I think what you saw Dallas run a lot last year with Zeke, you're going to see them run over in New York with the Giants, and that is going to be a decent amount of inside zone and some gap schemes, some power schemes as well. But the question is, do the Giants have the same offensive line to do that the way they did in Dallas with all that great talent down there with Frederick and Tyron Smith and Leo Collins and Zach Martin and guys like that? They don't have that talent in New York now that they have good size, whether you're talking rookie Andrew Thomas, who's a house, or even their center Nick Gates is 6'5", but there's a lot more youth and probably a lot less talent there. So, can you really stress those tackles, whether that's Thomas, who is a rookie, a high, top 10 pick, this past draft from Georgia, but still making his first start, his first career snaps, obviously, since there was no preseason. And then on the right side, you have Cameron Fleming, a veteran, more journeyman. I think he was with Dallas and Garrett and followed him to New York. So TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, I think they have some really good matchups. And then I still think interior wise, you have some good matchups. I think you'll have Tuitt on Kevin Zeitler, the right guard. And a really good matchup will be Kim Hayward on the left guard, Will Hernandez, who's a squatty dude, a really good run blocker, came out of Fresno State as kind of a mauler type. And so that's a lot of big on big, strength on strength. So that'll be interesting to see. But I think overall, the tackles and defending TJ Watt and Bud Dupree, they're going to struggle. And that kind of leads to the last point about second year quarterback Daniel Jones, where you definitely want to be ball hungry and attacking Daniel Jones. This guy had 18 fumbles as a rookie. That was most in football. And obviously, TJ Watt had what? Seven forced fumbles last year, but Dupree can get after the football as well on that blind side. So I think being able to not only focus on getting sacks, but taking the ball away because Jones' carriage and security of the football was clearly an issue last season. I'm sure he's worked on that. Maybe it'll be less of an issue in year two for him if the line's just better overall. There's less pressure. You get the idea. But I think the TJ Watt, Bud Dupree in this pass rush has the ability to not only get a bunch of sacks, but to take the football away, force a couple fumbles, and create some short fields for the offense. And looking at the Giants defense now, and they kind of remind me of the Cleveland Browns. And I'm trying to mean that as a compliment in some sense. There's some negativity, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But they remind me up front like the Browns, and not having the defined top tier pass rusher like Miles Garrett, but that interior defense line is got a lot of talent. Like they're really good up front. Whether you're talking Dalvin Tomlinson, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, those are all guys who are first or second round picks, and they're big dudes. They move well. They get penetration. It's going to be hard to base block those guys because if you do, they're going to get penetration. They're going to get upfield, and they're going to disrupt the path of the running back. Kind of reminds me of, and they're bigger, but it reminds me of like a Larry Ogunjobi of Cleveland, just guys who are really stout against the run. They make it hard for guards and centers to get to the second level and take on linebackers. So it's our linebackers really roam free. So either you have to kind of double and really focus on the first level block to take care of Lawrence and company, and that lets the linebackers free, or you try to quickly get to the second level, and then you got a lot of one-on-one blocks between your guard on those individual interior defensive linemen, and that can create issues, which is kind of what you saw, especially in that one primetime game against Cleveland last year, where the Steelers just, Joe Schobert ran free the entire game because they could not get to the second level. So there's a concern there. I think the Giants will have a good run defense. They play a bare front, so they will cover up your centers, cover up your guards, and again, just make it hard to get to the second level, just kind of create a lot of mess. So I think if you're going to run in this one, it's going to be more difficult, and you probably want to try to get the ball on the outside a little bit more than up the middle. But yeah, trying to contain those guys in the pass game too, because they'll collapse the pocket and get penetration. And the worst thing for a quarterback is when you have that A gap pressure. I mean, you can deal with edge pressure, you can step up, you can climb, you can roll after you climb. But if there's pressure up the middle, you don't really have a lot of good options at that point. So containing the line of scrimmage, containing, I think that big three of Tomlinson, Lawrence, and Williams will be a big mission for Steelers line that'll be missing David DeCastro, which is going to be a noticeable loss, especially against this Giants front. Now, the good news is their linebacking core is not the best. They've had some injuries there. I think Blake Martinez in the middle, so it's not a great linebacking group. But again, if that defensive line's doing their job, it will get those linebackers to run free. And it doesn't really matter how good you are, if you're running free, probably going to make some plays. One area of a question mark for this team is just the overall secondary for the Giants. There is some talent, but there's a lot of newness there. They signed James Bradbury in the offseason from Carolina. They just signed Logan Ryan about a week or two ago, which is important for them because DeAndre Baker, that whole off-field mess. They tried to sign Ross Cockrell, former Steeler. That deal fell through, but there's just a lot of newness there. And overall, how is that group going to work together? It's a bit of a question mark. They have some injuries. Xavier McKinney, I think second round pick this past year, he got hurt. He's going to miss a lot of time. Won't be available for this game. So just a lot of question marks in terms of that secondary coming together, and if that will lead to busted coverages or miscommunication, or them forced to play a more vanilla type scheme. I think that'll benefit the Steelers. And so I think Juju, if they can get him involved middle of the field, Ebron involved middle of the field, that's kind of the way I'm looking at this one. Because I think it will be tough to run the football. And I think honestly, it could be tough to even make plays over the middle of the field because they're going to bracket slot receivers. They're going to double cover. They're going to run a lot of man-to-man coverage with some the safety spinning down and trying to rob some middle crossing routes. So I do think you want to try to work the middle of the field, obviously, but your big plays may come on the outside, testing some of those corners one-on-one. A big matchup could be Darnay Holmes, a rookie slot corner. I believe is going to play in the slot against Juju. Juju's got a definite size advantage on him. Experience matchup, obviously. Holmes again, first snap. Rookies are in such a difficult spot this season. So I think Juju could have a big game, but they will definitely try to take him away over the middle of the field. And then just overall, it's two very different situations when it comes to a coaching staff. You have Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff, which are all essentially returning a couple position coach changes, but same head coach, same coordinators. And then you compare that with the Giants that have a whole new coaching staff. Joe Judge, a first-time head coach, was a special teams coordinator in New England. You do have a former head coach in Jason Garrett as the OC, but then you have a defensive coordinator in Patrick Graham for the Giants, who is in his second year as a defensive coordinator. First with the Giants was with Miami last season. So you just wonder how a new head coach is going to adjust to literally his first game of his career in terms of being a head coach and just all that comes with the pandemic and just trying to adjust to that. So you think the Steelers would have a significant leg up just in terms of the experience they're bringing. They're all on a level playing field of having to adjust to this. No one's dealt with something like this before, but the Steelers just have the advantage of just having experience, and they're not new to travel or to pregame stuff or just kind of the inner workings of the game, and they can probably more easily adjust to a situation like this because all the other variables to them that are new to the Giants and new to Joe Judge are not new to Mike Tomlin. So that is an advantage for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Overall, I know I didn't talk about the Steelers a whole lot because I want to turn the attention to these videos on the opponent and what to expect from them. But obviously the Steelers are the better team on paper. I think the run defense will be solid. I think obviously the secondary, the continuity they're bringing, Ben's return, obviously number one on the checklist of things to talk about. I do think running the football will be difficult, and so that may put a little bit more stress on the pass game, and maybe you try to get the ball in the perimeter more. I do think motion will be a big factor for both teams. The Steelers hopefully will see more of that. I think we will. The Cowboys with Jason Garrett used a lot of motions, a lot of trades, a lot of shifts, a decent amount of tempo, and the Steelers will have to adjust to that. But I think you're just in a better situation and more continuity and more talent to deal with that than the Giants are right now. I don't want to assume anything. It is week one. It's unpredictable. I'm recording this before the Sunday 1 o'clock kickoff, so we'll kind of get a feel for how teams respond. And saw that Chiefs game, things were a little sloppy. There weren't as many big plays. The game, the pace and the tempo felt a little off at times, which is to be expected. But I'm going to go with the Steelers in this one in terms of a score. What my arbitrary score prediction will be, I will say Pittsburgh will win this one 27-14 over the Giants. I think Chase Claypool gets his first touchdown on a jump ball in the corner of the end zone, and maybe on his first career catch, which would be actually a pretty long list of Steelers to have their first reception be a touchdown. I think what AB did it, or first touch, I should say. AB, Martavis, I think Juju did it, James Washington did it, so that'd be kind of a cool trend to follow. But I think Claypool will get a look in the red zone. Again, I don't think the Steelers' run game will be great, just because the Giants are pretty stout up front. I think you have to get the ball in the perimeter if you do want to try to run on these guys. But overall, just too much talent, too much continuity, and all those advantages gives the Steelers the ultimate edge. I think they will start the season 1-0. It will be pretty disappointing if they do not. But again, nothing is guaranteed. So that's my prediction. Pittsburgh will win 27-14, and they're just great on Monday night. They're just good in these primetime moments for whatever reason. I think just having the experience as a coaching staff and having a good roster certainly helps in that regard. So let me know your thoughts on this game. Let me know who you think will win this game. Will it be the Steelers, who are the favorites, or will the Giants pull off the upset? And if the Steelers were to lose, what would be the reason that they lost? If you had to say the Steelers lost this game because fill in that blank, what do you think the actual key factor would be that would cause them to start the season 0-1? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.